Hello, Shalom. Welcome to the Ancient Foundation Bible Fellowship. My name is Shannon, and along with my wife Lyndall, we are part of the Ancient Foundation Bible Fellowship who meet in Port Macquarie, New South Wales, Australia. So, as our name suggests, we are a fellowship who have decided to go back to the ancient foundations of our faith and build our house on that rock, which we believe is to be the Messiah, Yeshua. In these shows, we'll be discussing a wide variety of topics with a focus on the Hebrew language and culture, as it is, in my opinion, that this is the context our Bibles were written in. So with that being said, we're going to continue on from last week on our discussion about Satan and the adversary, again from a Hebrew language and culture perspective. So I encourage you, if you missed out on last week, I encourage you to go back. And I'm just going to set up my screen here so you can follow along with the scriptures I've put up, as I like to do. I like to use a lot of scripture and have it so you guys can follow along. So just bear with me while I get that set up. Okay, I think we're right. Yep. So last week, part 1 in this series on Satan, the adversary, we learnt some Hebrew and Greek words that are directly related to Satan or the devil or whoever or however you want to refer him to. In this teaching, part 2, we will learn of the characteristics of this being known as Satan or the devil or the adversary, or in Hebrew, Hasatan. So like I said, if you haven't listened to last week, I encourage you to go back into the archives and watch last week's teaching. And I think it's important to get an understanding of what these terms mean. And you'll find that there's some amazing insight, especially in the pictograph side of the language, onto the meanings of these terms. So this week we're going to dig a little bit further and go into the characteristics, so we can identify when we're up against Satan or his demons, and we can identify what influences people that are around us, that we come into contact with every day of our lives, our work colleagues, family members, anyone in the street. When you're driving through traffic, I can assure you that sooner or later you're going to see these characteristics manifest and be expressed through different people. So again, if you're joining us for today, welcome. Don't be afraid to say hello in the chat box. Nice to see where you are and who you are. So don't be afraid to say hello. So there are negative terms and words in our scriptures, just like there are positive terms and words in our scriptures. But these negative terms and words that we read in our Bibles, they all have one thing in common. They relate to and are tied to the adversary, Satan, the devil, the bad guy, however you want to refer him to be. For example, if you look to your screens with me, in Genesis 1:2, it says, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of Yahweh, Spirit of Elohim, was hovering over the face of the waters." So here we have the second verse in our Bibles. And what I want to reveal and show to you is some words that are related into this verse. So let's have a look. The Hebrew word for form. So we read the first part of this verse, the earth was without form, right? So the Hebrew word for form, shalom, Bronny, nice to have you with us. Hope you enjoy this teaching today. So the earth was without form. So the word for form in Hebrew is tohu. Tohu. And it means formlessness, confusion. That's interesting. Unreality, emptiness, and also reacting to uncertainty. Just a little bit more meaning than the word form when you break it down is the Hebrew. Confusion, unreality, emptiness, reacting to uncertainty are all tied to this Hebrew word tohu. The next word I want to look at to do in this verse is the word for void. So we have the earth was without form and void. So the Hebrew word here for void is bohu. So we have tohu and bohu. And bohu means emptiness, void, waste, and also to confuse elements. Very interesting. These are all tied together and connected. And the last word in this particular passage I want to see this verse is the word for darkness. In Hebrew is hoshek. Hoshek. And it means darkness, obscurity, deprived of light. Quite revealing. So in this verse we have three words that are all negative. Form. When you actually break it down into Hebrew, you see the negativity behind it. Void and darkness. And they are all negative and grouped together in this one particular verse. If you remember last week in part 1, if you're with us, Satan was cast down to the earth from the heavens. You have to go back and watch that if you haven't seen it already. This is maybe one of the reasons this verse is using these words describing what it was like at that time. Because Satan, Hasatan, was cast down here to the earth from wherever he was in the heavenlies, wherever that was in Yahweh's presence. And after he was cast down, here we see in the second verse of our Bibles that it was chaos, darkness, void, etc., etc., etc. And these are all characteristics directly related to Satan. So I just find it very, very revealing and interesting that this was what the earth was like. Chaotic, darkness, void, uncertain. All these negative terms are grouped together directly relating to the time frame when Satan was cast down. So we're going to learn the characteristics of Satan, and thus we'll be able to understand and to start identifying Satan's influences and become aware of his schemes. In the Old Testament, or as I prefer to call it, the Tanakh, Israel's enemies are symbolic of people being influenced and used by Satan. I'll say that again. In the Old Testament, the Tanakh, Israel's enemies are symbolic of people who are influenced by Satan, by the devil, by Hasatan. These people manifested the characteristics of the adversary. They manifested the characteristics of their father. Heard that somewhere before. Our Messiah Yeshua said, "You are of your father, the devil, Satan." Why? Because of the characteristics they were being influenced with at the time. So, for example, let's have a look at some of these people groups in the Old Testament. Look to your screens with me again. In Numbers 25, verse 18, "For they harassed you with their schemes, by which they seduced you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cosby, the daughter of a leader of Midian, their sister, who was killed in the day of the plague because of Peor. Again, in this verse, we see certain words grouped together, certain negative words again grouped together in the matter of this whole episode. Example, we see the word harassed, schemes, and seduced or being seduced, seducing. All these words again are found in the same verse. This verse is talking about when the Midianites seduced Israel at Peor and caused many to sin, and many died because of a plague that was sent throughout the camp, throughout the nation, because of this sin. But here again, it's very revealing. These words, these negative terms, are being connected to the attitude and the hearts of the way people were being influenced, I believe, by Satan. They were being harassed and they were under schemes and they were being seduced. These, again, are all characteristics of Satan influencing people. So again, like I said, we see these different words being grouped together, describing, and they're all attributes and characteristics of Hasatan, the devil. Let's have another look at another verse. In Deuteronomy 25, verses 17 to 18, it says, "Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you were coming out of Egypt, how he met you on the way and attacked your rear ranks, all the stragglers at your rear when you were tired and weary, and he did not fear God." Talking about Amalek. In this particular verse. So Amalek attacked, we all know, familiar with the story, Amalek attacked the weary and tired of Israel as they were leaving Egypt and coming out of Egypt. There were stragglers, there was older ones, there were sick people, there was tired people, there was weary, and they attacked. They didn't fear God. They were enemies of these people, and they attacked them. The Amalekites are from Amalek. Who's Amalek? Amalek was the grandson of Esau. They attacked for no reason the weak and the tired of Israel. The nation of Israel, they attacked them. Israel is also referred to as the congregation or the assembly. That's how Israel as a nation were also referred to. So, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Things don't, there's nothing new under the sun. Satan still attacks the weary and the tired within the assemblies and the congregation. So, this is something we need to be aware of. We all get tired. We all get weary. We all straggle sometimes. Well, this is the opportune time when Hasatan will come and attack the weak, the tired, the disheartened, the discouraged, the sick, the ones that are struggling in their faith or having faith. We see these symbolic characteristics of Satan himself. Still attacks within the assemblies and the congregations today of those that are feeling weary and tired. Those that are struggling from time to time. We all struggle. Let me be upfront and tell you, we all struggle from time to time. We all lose heart from time to time. We all struggle in our weaknesses, and we all struggle in our health at times. Well, these are when we get attacked and harassed. Those that are feeling that way. The Philistines. We've talked about the Midianites, the Amalekites. Now with the Philistines are another group of people, another country of people that always came against Israel and always attacking them and harassing them. Goliath was a Philistine. He came out of those people. There are also the Assyrians, the Babylonians, who both took Israel captive. We also have the Egyptians, the Greeks, and the Romans. All these different people groups throughout the Old Testament, the Tanakh, throughout history, have manifested and displayed the characteristics of Satan, their father. All the enemies of Israel constantly manifested who they were being influenced by. And we can learn a lot from these examples in our scriptures. When people come against us, we can identify certain attributes and characteristics that are being manifested through their lives. Nothing new under the sun. It's interesting that in these people groups, all these people groups surrounded Israel. You see it all through the scriptures. They surrounded the nations that were around Israel. They surrounded Israel. And if you remember from part 1, again, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go and see it. We explained that in the pictograph, the actual Hebrew word Satan actually means to surround and destroy life. Isn't it quite amazing that all these nations surrounded constantly? They constantly surrounded the nation of Israel to destroy the seed of the woman, the seed of life, the word, the Torah, the teachings and the instructions that set Israel apart from every other nation on the earth. And we see these attributes of Satan wanting to continually surround and suffocate and destroy that life out of Israel, Yahweh's people. This was playing out in the land of Israel constantly. They were being constantly surrounded by those who wanted to destroy them. And it is still going on today and will not stop until the return of Yeshua, our Messiah. All these nations were pagans. Their way of life was opposite, opposing, against the Torah that Yahweh gave Israel. It's just like us today. If we're following the Torah, the teachings and instructions of Yahweh, we find that many times those that are attacking us, their lives are opposite to the way we've decided to live, to the way we choose to live. Why? Because we love Yeshua. He says, if you love me, keep my commandments. Well, we follow the commandments because we want to please our Father. We love Yeshua. We love Yahweh. We love the blessings and the protection and everything, everything that comes with living this lifestyle. And you'll find that those that don't agree with this lifestyle live opposite, contrary, different to the way we live. And you'll see that manifestation attributes play out in the way they treat you and speak to you. Unfortunately, that is more real for many of us than we would like. All these nations, all these peoples that surrounded Israel were used in various ways to harass, murder, and rob the people of Yahweh. But what also needs to be said was that Israel was also influenced by Satan by going and worshipping their pagan gods, by violating the instructions or commands of Yahweh, by breaking the Torah. So we need to balance this out as well, that the people of God, and we do at times, let's be honest, let's be frank, that from time to time we also are influenced by Satan. Hopefully we can identify it and rectify it before we go too far. Also, in the Tanakh, the Old Testament, the character of Satan is represented in individuals. So we just talked about different nations. The character and attributes of Satan is being revealed through different individuals. And a few times, brothers. These people were influenced by Satan. For example, Cain murdered Abel. He was influenced by Satan. Yes, he was in sin. He was a fallen man, but he was influenced by Satan to kill his brother Abel. He was jealous. Again, you read the story and you read some of the words that surround the passage and narrative of Cain and Abel. And you'll see negative terms, jealousy, and he wanted his offering wasn't accepted, and he became angry and bitter, and it festered, and all these different terminologies reveal what was influencing him. Esau disregarded his birthright and ended up being against Yaakov or Jacob, and this is still manifesting today, thousands of years later. Joseph, his brothers were envious and jealous of him and sold him off. Again, there's these negative words and attributes and characteristics that are being manifested and revealed by who they are being influenced by. And Joseph's brother is a classic example. We've just been reading all about, and we're in the middle of it in our weekly Torah portions, about Joseph being sold off, and they were jealous, they were angry, they were bitter at him. And we see all these different characteristics and attributes playing out. We see the characteristics of murder, rape, envy, strife, jealousy, greed, pillaging, harassing, bullying, manipulation, selfishness, disregard for life, domination, paganism, and the list goes on and on and on. So through all these different nations that we've just been talking about and these individuals, you see all these characteristics in their lives. And these are all negative terms, negative words, negative attributes that all come from one source: Satan, the devil. Everything and anything that was against the ways of Yahweh. This is one reason Yahweh gave Israel the Torah, to be a people holy, set apart from everybody else. The teachings and instructions of Yahweh are a behavior and a way of living. This is opposite to everyone that's around us, especially in our modern day westernized cultures. The way we choose to live our lives are directly opposite to the majority of people that are around us in our culture. You will find many of the commandments are opposing what the pagan cultures around them were doing. And they thought it was quite normal, quite acceptable to behave in that way. So Yahweh gave Israel the Torah, the commandments, to set them apart from these characteristics, from these attributes. Let's move on to the New Testament. We've been spending time in the Old. Let's move into the New. Characteristics of Satan are explained in the New Testament. He is a thief, a liar. He intimidates, accuses, curses, goes against the commandments or the Torah, is religious, doctrines of men and demons, does not receive instruction, is not teachable, or receive the Torah. Slanders, gossips, argues, is contentious. Being contentious, it's a big one. Condemning, tempts, deceives, darkness, anxiety, depression, and prideful. These are just some of the terminologies that you'll find in the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, on other examples and characteristics and attributes that explain the manifestation of Satan in people's lives all through the New Testament. Let's have a look at this. If you look to your screens with me, John 10:10. The thief does not come except to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I have come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. See, again in this verse in the New Testament now, John 10:10, we see another group of words, all negative, all describing Satan, the devil. And these words are to steal, to kill, he's a thief, to destroy. So another great example of all these words explaining and showing the manifestations of Satan. He's a thief. He wants to take your shalom. He wants to take your peace. He wants you to cause you to be upset. He wants to take your joy. He steals. That's what a thief does. He wants to kill and to destroy everything that Yahweh wants to do in your life. In 1 Peter 5:8, it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So here we see that Satan's explained like a roaring lion who wants to kill and devour and destroy his prey. He goes around seeking whom he may devour, just like the Amalekites did, and the Philistines, and all these other groups of nations of people in the Old Testament. He goes after the weak and tired within the assemblies. So again, we're talking about the characteristics that are displayed by Satan and those who are influenced by him. The next verse is the complete Jewish Bible version. In Matthew 4:1 in the complete Jewish Bible, it says, then the Spirit led Yeshua up into the wilderness to be tempted by the adversary. So here we see that he tempts. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Transforms himself into an angel of light. This is where we need discernment in our lives. Satan can twist the word of God and make it look good. Present it as light. This is how he deceived Eve and Adam. The good, pleasant fruit that was pleasing to the eyes. But the fruit is always bad. This is why fellowshipping and receiving good, balanced counsel are so important. This is why it is so important to be involved in a fellowship, in an assembly, or in a congregation. If you're able to do that, is so important, because this is where balance comes in. This is where good counsel comes in. This is where people can come and stand alongside you and help you and discern and sort it out. Satan holds back and hinders. So we see that he comes as an angel of light. He tempts. He wants to destroy. He's a thief. Satan holds back and hinders. Again, look to your screens. In 1 Thessalonians 2:18, it says, "Therefore, we wanted to come to you, even I, Paul, time and again, but Satan hindered us." So we can see Satan can hold back and hinder. He can take away the word that was sown in the heart and cause one to fall away. This happens so often. People get all excited when they come into the walk and get all this new great understanding, and the Bible's come alive to me and I've never seen it before, and this is just amazing. It's just like the lights come on. Like it's revelation opens up. And he can come and take away the seed, that good news that's been sown into someone's heart. And eventually they fall away. This happens from time to time. So Satan causes the word that was sown in the heart to be taken away. In Mark 4:15 it says, "And these are the ones by the wayside where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts." It's amazing to me, and I can only speak from some experience. It's amazing for me that how this happens. How this word can be sown into somebody's heart and they can get all excited, and you think that they get it, and then some months down the track it all becomes too hard. It's hard following the Torah. It's hard following Yahweh's commandments. It's hard keeping his Sabbaths and his feasts. It's hard to eat clean. It's hard. And this is all how Satan works, to take the seed that was sown in the heart. And these people fall away and move on to another congregation or assembly, or go back to Christianity, go back to Sunday church or whatever that may be, or sometimes fall away altogether. Why? Because Satan comes in and he deceives and takes that good seed that was sown in their hearts, and they fall away. It's very sad. Satan can influence the heart. Acts 5:3. But Peter said, "Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and keep back part of the price of the land for yourself?" So here we see that Satan can influence the heart. Peter's calling out Ananias and saying that Satan has filled your heart. He's influenced your heart to hold back what you pledged, what you promised. Satan can have power over a soul and blinds them spiritually. Again, we're going to have a look at the verse in the complete Jewish Bible. Satan can have power over a soul and blind them spiritually. Acts 26:18 in the complete Jewish Bible version. To open their eyes so that they will turn from darkness to light, from the power of the adversary, Satan, to Yahweh or Elohim, and thus receive forgiveness of sins and a place among those who have been separated for holiness by putting their trust in me. So here we see that people have been delivered from the power of the adversary. So until somebody yields and submits and surrenders to Yahweh, they have given their life to Satan. And in many times, people are totally ignorant and not aware that if you're not a believer in Yahweh, in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if you don't receive Yeshua as your Messiah, and the blood and the sacrifice that was shed on the execution stake for you, if you don't receive that, well, friend, you're under the power of Satan. He has blinded you. and you're spiritually blind and you're under his power. Because it says here that he opens our eyes that they will turn from darkness to light, from the power of the adversary. So we're under the power of the adversary up until the time we come to faith in Yahweh. Again, another witness to this is in 2 Corinthians 4:4, whose minds the God of this age has blinded. So here we see that Satan blinds. The God of this age is a way that describes Satan or the devil. He's the God of this age who is blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Mashiach, who is in the image of God, should shine upon them. So here we see that the God of this age blinds people, just like we were before the light of the gospel shone upon us. The glory of Mashiach was revealed to us, and our eyes were opened, and that power was transferred from being under Satan to being under Yahweh. Satan can bind people with sickness and disease. Again, we're talking about characteristics and attributes of Satan, so we can identify them in our lives and in people that we communicate with. Satan can bind people with sickness and disease. This is what happened to Job in the Old Testament, the Tanakh. Satan put many sicknesses and things on him, but he can bind people up with sickness and disease. Let's have a look at an example. Luke 13, verse 16. So ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has bound, think of it, for 18 years, being loosed from this bond on the Sabbath. So here we see an example that a woman was bound by Satan for 18 years, and Yeshua came along and delivered her and set her free from that bondage. Satan, the devil, has devices. In 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Are we ignorant? Are you ignorant of his devices? So he has devices. He has things that he uses to cause you to be entrapped and snared, to take you away from Yahweh. Satan is also used to try one's faith. In Luke 22:31, it says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has asked for you that he may sift you as wheat. What an amazing passage. Satan has asked for you that he may sift you. Wow. He's asking to test Peter's faith, Simon Peter's faith. Matthew 4:10, and then Yeshua said to him, this is when he's being tempted on by Satan. And Yeshua said to him, away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship Yahweh, your Elohim, and him only you shall serve. So here he's tempting Yeshua with worshiping him and giving him all the kingdoms of the earth if he would just bow down. So he was sent to try Yeshua, to test Yeshua, to tempt Yeshua. Satan can enter people. Yes, Satan can literally, and his demons, enter people and influence people. Luke 22, verse 3. Then Satan entered Judas, surnamed Iscariot. More on that maybe at another time. Who was numbered among the 12. You can see the English bias in this verse. They didn't have surnames. Food for thought. But anyway, Satan entered Judas. We're talking about how Satan can enter people. Satan entered Judas Iscariot, who was numbered among the 12. Matthew 16, verse 23. But he turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are an offense to me, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men." Again, we see these attributes coming out. This is just after Peter professed him to be the Messiah. And then Satan entered Peter and influenced Peter and was rebuked by Yeshua and says that you get behind me, you're an offense. So we see Satan again influencing and entering Peter, one of the main disciples, and then later an apostle. Satan is also referred to as darkness. Shouldn't come to any surprise. He's also referred to as darkness. And it says here in Luke 22:53, "When I was with you daily in the temple, you did not try to seize me, but this is your hour and the power of darkness." See, this is when they're coming after him and got him. And he said, "I was with you daily in the temple, and you did not try and take me then, but now is the hour and the power of darkness." This is Satan being referred to as darkness. And in Romans 3:12, "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Therefore, let us cast off works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." So here again, we're being instructed by Paul that we're to cast off the works of darkness. Well, what are the works of darkness? Satan, his characteristic, his attributes, the old man, the flesh, sin, the sin nature. Just like there's works of life or works of light, of righteousness, which is the Torah, there are also works of darkness, which are of Satan and his ways. People who have not chosen to follow Yahweh are referred to as those of the darkness. Again, we see this word continually come up in relation to Satan and the devil. 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 4 to 5. "But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. You are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night, nor of the darkness." See, we see this direct contrast here. People who have not chosen to follow Yahweh and his ways are referred to as sons of darkness or being in darkness. But we are no longer in darkness. We are no longer under the power of the adversary. We are no longer blinded by Satan. We are now sons of light. We are sons of the day. And we should behave as such. And another example is in Ephesians 5:8. "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." Children of the Torah, children of the way, children that reveal and manifest the attributes of Yahweh, our Father. The attributes that Yeshua come to be our example here on earth. He makes this big contrast constantly between the darkness and light, works of darkness and light, being blinded and seeing. We see these play out all through our scriptures. So now we have learned biblical words that surround Satan, the adversary, the devil, and all the other words, Hasatan, and all the other titles that have been given to him. We have learned biblical words and terminology used concerning Satan, the adversary, who he is and where he came from. We have also learnt now the characteristics, his traits, and the fruit that is manifested by him, and those who are under his influence and who are used by him. We have also identified behaviors that we all exhibit. All of us, none of us are exempt from this. We all exhibit from time to time and understand what they are and where they come from. This is why it says, take every thought captive. Resist the devil and submit to Yahweh, and resist the devil and he must flee. So this is written to believers. These are written to the sons of light. The sons of darkness don't care. He's writing these things to us because we all struggle with these things from time to time. Peter and Paul and John and Andrew and James or Yaakov, Yeshua's brother, every one of us struggle from time to time with being influenced from Satan. David, we learnt last week, was influenced by Satan in more ways than one. Solomon, Saul, Eve. The list goes on and on and on. The disciples, the apostles, everyone gets influenced from time. Now we know the characteristics, the thieving, the seduction, the destroying, darkness, all these things. When these things start to creep into our lives and into our hearts, hopefully the Holy Spirit will recall this teaching to you and be able to say, aha, that's of Satan, and deal with it then and there and push him aside. And also to be able to identify and discern, because he presents himself as light. So often people come and they tell you of this teaching and that teaching, and I watched this and I watched that. And they sound so good, sound so close to the truth. But there's some things in there that you just know that aren't right. They're presented as light. So we need discernment now more than ever to be able to discern these things in our own hearts and in our own lives. And understand that we are influenced by these from time to time. We now know where they come from and that we can deal with them and move on and grow in Yahweh. This is called the renewing of the mind that Paul teaches about. Renewing our minds, taking every thought captive, being different to what we used to be. Next time we're going to learn about who we are and understand the authority and the power given to us as believers over him and over demons, over the devil, over the adversary, over Satan, and over his demons. To know and walk in victory and to be able to see him as this in our lives. Yes, let's have a look to see him like this in our own lives. Have a look at this last picture. I love it. I love this picture. This is who we are in Messiah. The devil is under our feet. Why? Because our Messiah has given us the victory. I love this picture. He's under our feet. We need to know who we are in Messiah. And next week we're going to move on and reveal how we have this authority and victory over Satan and over the devil. We need to understand and we need to know who we are, who Yahweh, who Yeshua has made us to be. We are the head and not the tail. We are above only and not beneath. He has given us the victory by the price that he paid. Hallelujah. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that teaching. And here's this picture. You probably didn't see it. There we are. Sorry, I forgot to bring it up. I had it on my screen, but forgot to bring it up on yours. Yes, this is who we are. We have the victory. We have the authority over the devil. So I hope this teaching has been encouragement to you and helping you understand who we're up against, what we're up against, and the strategies, how he influences people. Whenever somebody is against you, whenever somebody is attacking you, that is of Satan. When they're coming against you because of your faith, when they're coming against you because of the way you choose to live your life, that is Satan. Because Satan always comes against the teachings and instructions of Yahweh. That's the pattern. It's all through the scriptures, from the beginning right through to the end, when he's thrown into the pit, when he's thrown into the lake of fire. We see this all up until that point. So if you're being attacked, if you see people manifest and they get angry and upset, they're void, they're without form, they're in darkness, you'll be able to identify it, and you'll be able to know where it comes from. And also in your own life, when you have these thoughts and your heart becomes a bit hard, or you get a bit jealous, or whatever it is, we all go through stuff. Be able to identify that this is a characteristic of Satan, and then put Satan, I'll bring it up again, put Satan under your feet and move on to what Yahweh has for you. Well, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this teaching and it's been a blessing to you. Next week, we're going to move on to who we are, the victory that we have in Yeshua. And again, I would like to thank Mark David Smith and his team for the opportunity to share with you today. I encourage you to tune into the Messianic Lamb Network throughout the week and listen to all the other wonderful ministries and teachings that are available throughout the week. I hope this teaching has been an encouragement and a blessing to you. I thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, may Yahweh's hand be upon you, and may Yahweh watch over you and your loved ones, and may he protect you. Shalom.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network. Thank you.